Today, I want to talk about some Twitch-related stuff that I find to be a little important. I've heard some people weighing in on this, and now Mudahar's talking about it as well. And I know what he's going to talk about, and I've got my own opinion. I'm going to let him talk about it a little bit first, and then I'm going to weigh in and say what I think about it. I definitely think that there's some problems. I don't believe that it's a generalized Twitch thing, though. Okay, so, and for those people who don't know what we're talking about, we're gonna let Mudahar introduce the topic, and then I'll weigh in myself. All right, so let's get started on Twitch is a disgustingly evil platform.
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and
Hello, Mudahar.
Today's video is going to be a bit of a heavy subject matter. So before we jump in completely, obviously with the title, you obviously know something is pretty wild at Twitch.
No, obviously everything's very tame, everything's very under control. We've got no problems, absolutely nobody's upset about anything whatsoever. And you're weird for thinking that there is a problem, and you're weird for thinking that anybody is concerned about anything.
Now, this is in regards to serious world-shattering events that, again, I'm not an expert in, so I'm going to kind of tread lightly in this situation, explain and discuss things that I reasonably can. But if you want to dive away from heavy stuff and you want to stick to something a little bit more...
Okay, like... I know I'm nobody to talk, right? I know I'm nobody to talk. Like, you could probably hear the audio in my room is like it's like there's three of me talking at the same time. But Mudahar, come on, man. You got 1 million subscribers, not a single one of them knows how to set up your camera correctly.
More, lighthearted, then, tomorrow I'm probably going to be releasing another deep web video, so get excited for that one. We're looking at a lot of wild websites.
Okay.
And if you want to, look at things like LSD Dream Emulator, maybe some more creepypasta stuff, because I'm going back to that. This week is probably going to be a fun week for some of you guys watching Some Ordinary Gamers. A lot of callback to older content that I did and I want to be doing going forward.
Neat.
But this is one of those videos where I've seen it mentioned on the actual Reddit. So if you know that we have the Some Ordinary Gamer subreddit,
Yeah.
and one of the top posts was, stuff about Asmongold the last couple days. So, these were pretty...
I didn't talk about the Asmongold apology video because I thought it was a good apology video, and I didn't think there was all that much to talk about. All the best to Asmongold. I hope he gets his house together. I hope that when he's done, cleaning it in his penance, I hope he does hire a maid to keep it clean for him, just so he can focus on gaming. And I think that one of the best things he could do, if he really wants to turn all the way into gaming, is just participate in the OnlyFans thing, like with Soda Poppin' and all the other OTK people. Just play hardcore WoW with your friends, man. Have a good old time. That's what I think Asmongold should do. Just throw React content out for a month and just play video games again. Every time, for that first month when he comes back, if he really wants the content to improve, the thing he should be doing is just direct himself entirely to just having fun with his friends, having fun with McConnell. Bring McConnell in, get him into Fangsley, and just have McConnell in there and just play video games with your friends, have a good old time, engage in that. And I think that would be the best thing you could do if he really wants to to go back to doing good old wholesome family friendly gaming content. That's my opinion.
Highly viewed posts on my subreddit, and they were ones where it kind of dominated the entire community for a little bit. So obviously it's one of those things where I kind of want to jump into it because the rabbit hole that I've went
doesn't
down
look like Warhammer false advertising. The Warhammering comes later, but we do need to talk about some stuff.
Wild and insane Twitch, if not the entire internet, is effectively becoming. So to give you an idea, Asmongold, a couple days ago, made some rather inflammatory statements that got his account banned for 14 days. Now these...
Just more stuff to cut out when I upload this on YouTube. so people can roast my opinions. And also give me views and subscribers, please. Hey.
Statements in particular I'm going to play, and obviously I just want to preface, Zach Asmongold has pretty much walked these things back.
Yeah,
and
he's apologized for everything.
For it,
he's apologized for everything. He's admitted that he was an idiot. He's admitted that he painted too wide of a brush, and you could tell that he was getting emotional about it during his apology video, because like he really was blown away by the fact that the people that his words were villainizing were the ones that showed up first and checked with him and asked, hey, is everything okay? Like, do you want to talk about this stuff? Do you need help with anything? It's like, you know, and I guess that's the first thing that's gonna make somebody realize that they're being ignorant, right? And I think that there's two types of people who say racist things, right? And mean them, right? I'm not talking about the people who are just saying racist stuff to be funny. You've got the people on one side who just don't know any better, right? The people who, you know, have only ever encountered the worst examples of people of a certain ethnicity, and so they paint everybody in that brush, and they say all people of this, you know, particular country are this way. That's ignorance, right? And then you've got the people who don't care about the truth. Some of them don't even need to have any prior experience with anybody of the ethnicity or culture that they're insulting. They just hate, right? And people who are ignorant, you can talk to them, you can show them that they're wrong. And usually it really only takes one conversation. Sit down with that person and go, hey man, you're saying this stuff. You understand that you're wrong about this, there's this and this and this factor. And then you've got Frogan, which we're going to get to later on in the video. We're only 2 minutes in. I've already paused the video a bunch of times, but like, we're going to get to it later. And people like Frogan, they just fucking hate. And the worst is when people hate, not because it's them, but because they think it's cool to hate. Because like, if somebody hates because they're, you know, hateful, okay, sure. But if they hate because they're a grifter, ew, right? Like, the person who hates because they're hateful, you can fight that person verbally, right? You can fight their ideas, you can do all that stuff, and you can look at them as an equal on the battleground of ideas and the battleground of speech. You can have those battles with them. But if somebody is just being hateful because it's their grift, ew. I said, you're pathetic. You're fucking disgusting. And by the way, that's Sneeko. That's oh my god, who's that anti-Semite white supremacist who's like a neo-Nazi on YouTube? They're like, he's really well dressed, really nice hair, and like, oh man, I forget his name. Doesn't matter, really. But like, the fucking Fresh and Fit, Sneeko, Andrew Tate, all of these guys, like, you can tell that everything that they're saying it because it's the thing that will get them the most attention. And they're not even worth engaging with, right? The people who are hateful because they're actually hateful are the ones that you need to engage with, because those are the people who actually are dangerous and who actually will perpetuate the idea and who actually need to be engaged directly. And if you just silence those people, now you don't know what they're doing. They're going to continue doing it, you just don't know what they're doing. And so you're not going to be able to react on time when they actually turn things around on you, and it becomes very dangerous.
You exactly what triggered a entire giant domino effect on Twitch. We're going to play this clip right here and kind of touch upon it briefly.
If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a They're terrible people. It's not even a question.
So
he's apologized for all of that. He's admitted he was wrong. He's shown his embarrassment. Okay. One thing he did say was regarding Sharia law, and whether or not that is true is not the point here, right? The problem is that he then said that because of what is written in Sharia law, which a lot of people in these lands don't agree with, and have, struggled to combat and struggled to fix, because of the laws, none of the people deserve any mercy. They don't deserve any grace. They don't deserve any pity or any help, right? That was his argument, which he's admitted is wrong, and it is wrong, because these people have struggled against what is a very oppressive system of laws. Those laws were born a long time ago when their religious leaders took over their actual legislative bodies during a bunch of armed conflicts, right? Different countries had different reasons, but it kind of happened to most of those countries in that area. And a lot of the people nowadays, all these years later, are very much struggling against that.
Cut the whole clip off over here real quick. Obviously,
smart.
this kind of inflamed individuals because Zach was
why.
referring to Muslims, specifically from what I understand, Palestinians at the
Yes.
time, when asked to talk about a conflict like this. Now, obviously, Zach was one of those people that said, weird as fuck to see many people coming out with statements about this conflict.
Okay, but that was a year ago, right? That was a year ago. And in this case, he specifically talked about it in response to somebody else talking about it to him, right? He didn't go out of his way to engage in the topic himself. He was scrolling his Reddit, somebody made a post, and he responded to that post directly, right?
They need to comment on it. Can we stop this weird culture around expecting people with no relevant backgrounds or educations to talk about world events / politics? And I actually agree 100% on that. It's one of the reasons why I don't really go into these topics, because I'm a fat Indian guy whose background is computer science and cybersecurity. That's all I know, okay? That's where I come down to. It's either that or playing video games. I'm not a global expert on anything, which is why I really don't talk about these situations. So obviously Asmongold walked it back, apologized, and said, my bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things, or have views I find regressive. So, in this situation, one could, if they were to extend the charitability, could say that Asmongold was probably referring to extremists in the Islamic religion, and their view on people in the LGBTQ camp, all right? As you all know, religious fundamentalists, whether you're in Islam or any religion, probably don't take too kindly to people that are gay, and that's probably...
To be fair, religious fundamentalists in the US also don't take too kindly to gay people.
What Asmongold was going for. Now, obviously, his idea of conflating this was probably not the smartest way to handle the situation, and that's pretty much how the situation ended up going. Now, he earned himself a 14-day ban, and what this did was basically show people that, hey, listen, this is wild stuff being said.
Yep.
This is some insane shit going on Twitch. But down the road on Twitch, there were plenty of other commentators known as Hassan Piker, and a few people in the politics sphere that basically showed that there is kind of a double standard in how Twitch enforces its actual, TOS. So a couple, days ago, if not a day ago, it turned out that Twitch was apparently banning accounts from Israel from actually signing up.
I don't think this is true. I think this was something regarding... This is my view of it. Mutahar is going to be much more well-informed on this, but from my understanding, this is something on Israel's side where they're just blocking certain ISPs. I don't know why. I don't know. I'll let Mutahar speak on this, but from my understanding, this wasn't related to Twitch.
Making an account from Israel on Twitch, it apparently ended up being where Twitch provided one error into its site code where it said, oops, we encountered an unexpected error. 2023 was the error code, and the code was blocked country IP. So this apparently ended up being addressed by Twitch. This was brought forward by Destiny and his co-host on his podcast, where they basically said, we wanted to address concerns we've seen about whether we're preventing Twitch account signups in some regions.
The Destiny chair.
When signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone, for added protection. Following the October 7, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. Now, obviously,
so it was both countries.
Wild stuff indeed. But why did they do it? We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. It's interesting how the site specifically picked this geolocated region in specific, especially when this wasn't enacted during Ukraine and Russia, or really any country that is still currently actively at war right now as we speak, okay? But
to be fair, the Ukraine conflict, the Ukraine-Russian conflict wasn't controversial, right? When somebody talked about their opinion on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, almost everybody was saying, yeah, Russia's in the wrong. Ukraine has the right to defend itself. And at this point, the conversation has kind of died down. No action is necessary. Now, I don't think that any action was necessary of this type, but they are blocking the ISPs from both Israel and Palestine. And do I think they're wrong for doing it? No, I completely understand. Do I think they needed to do it? No, I also don't think they needed to do it. But they're not wrong for doing it. They just don't want to have that stuff on the website, and they probably were seeing a lot more uploads from Israel and Palestine than they were seeing from Ukraine and Russia, which is something that I've also noticed. Like I've seen a lot more people uploading footage of Israel-Palestine than I saw Ukraine-Russia.
But anyways, to go further in, signups were not disabled, and we continued to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification. We've learned that inadvertently, we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region. Now, they've been community noted where they said even signups were impossible when using a phone number. So we deeply regret this unacceptable miss and the confusion it has caused. We fixed this issue, meaning all affected users.
Disregard it, like, I'm not trying to, like, disregard this, but, like, what game is on the background here?
Users can
This game
sign
looks
up
kinda
with
neat.
email verification. We've also heard concerns about whether our community guidelines apply to all content on our service, and we continue to enforce our rules as consistently as possible and are actively reviewing content and taking enforcement action whenever needed. Now, this last paragraph might be the biggest fucking sack of shit I have ever read from a company like this in my entire time on the internet.
True, Twitch has a big problem with content monetization.
But to give you an idea, this was not like a VPN
I said
block or something
monetization,
of that nature.
monitoring.
This was actual written into code, a geo-block of an entire region. So why would Twitch decide to ban Israel of all countries, especially after all of this has happened, from producing account and signing up to their service? It just doesn't make any sense. Well, since then, a fair amount of clips have come out that have addressed some individuals on Twitch promoting some rather wild thoughts. So we're going to go down the clip rampage and just go through some of the wildest
Yeah,
shit
the
people have been
clips.
digging out
I
from
want to
Twitch.
see the clips.
Now,
I want to see the clips.
CEO Dan Clancy comes out and says, "We just posted an explanation of what happened. We're very sorry about the oversight. It only came to our attention today. As mentioned in the tweet, it did not affect people using mobile phone verification." Now, what's really interesting about this whole situation is when somebody like Dan Clancy says, "Oh, wow, we just found it out now." There was actually a small movement known as Baluat Twitch from actual, like, Israeli content creators, where they actually brought this situation up. They dug into the inspect element,
Okay,
they
but
dug into the
like,
console.
I understand that, Muda. You also didn't know this person was doing this because this person has 2,000 views, 1.9 thousand views. That's nothing, right? Dan Clancy's not going to see this tweet. Okay, if there's 1,000 tweets like this, all of them having this many views, so a total of 1 million views, nobody's going to see that, right? Nobody's going to know that this is happening. In fact, you probably didn't know this was happening. So let's not pretend that, oh, this was happening for a while. It's like, okay, they saw it now. Like, this is an unfair thing if you're going to say that this is something that they should have known about because people tweeted about it before, right? People tweeted to Twitch all the fucking time with way bigger tweets than this. So
For their web browser, and right over here, it said it gave the same thing. Error 2023, blocked country IP. So when people started to email them around, right, Twitch support was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry that you're having issues creating an account. We reviewed your case thoroughly and confirmed, unfortunately, you are not eligible to create a Twitch account." So nowhere did they say use a cell phone number, not an email. That wasn't brought up. And then, of course, the further you dig out into it, one of the receipts that I saw posted was one from the Twitch user voice, where apparently a certain idea was deleted. That idea in particular was in response to you can't create an account in the region of Israel or Palestine. So, again, it's a geo-block, it seems, of the area, allegedly.
Yeah.
I agree, we're also people. You cannot make us not watch our favorite streamers just because we are from Israel, Palestine. So, insane shit.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad thing that this was a thing, but I believe Dan when he says that he wasn't aware of it, and therefore when he became aware of it, he corrected it. This was most likely done by someone, right? Like one or maybe 2 or 3 people, like a small amount of people who have access to the code snuck it in. I wouldn't be surprised about that, because that's kind of what happens on these types of platforms that are really big and kind of bloated, and they draw in a lot of people who have very strong opinions because they don't really go outside a lot, and so their only outlet is working on these platforms, whether they be on the back end or the front end, talking to people. And so they make use of the power that they have to enforce their ideas on the people that they have power over. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this was a very localized problem, that somebody snuck this in and it just never made it all the way up to Dan, right?
To be
I wouldn't be
fucking
surprised.
seeing. You know, at one point you get this piece of shit CEO that comes out and tells you, yeah, we only found out about it. I mean, again, it's just a blatant lie. So why the fuck would you need to lie? If anything, that just makes me more like, it just aggravates anybody watching this, because you feel talked down to, you feel mocked at the end of the day, and it's such a condescending way to communicate to people that can easily counter you in about 5 minutes. Honestly, if you really think about it, this rule actually hurt Gazans more than it ever would have hurt Israelis, because as geo-block, if it targeted that region, you know, if you wanted to allow people to document and live stream the real atrocities that are occurring to them in that region, you know, Palestinians could have used a platform to showcase themselves. In reality, it shows how borderline, like, it shows how stupid Twitch can be. In them trying to, I guess, protect people, they inadvertently limited people's, like, ability to express and produce content that could actually be eye-opening to a lot of people who...
Which is why you shouldn't block people's ability to talk, because a lot of the times in your attempt to block the oppressor, you also block the oppressed.
Don't know about the situation beyond what they read on the internet and through their feeds. But Dan Clancy is somebody that literally allows this site...
Not to mention, if you have the ability to stop an oppressor from talking, maybe they're not oppressing anyone. Maybe they don't have the ability to oppress. Maybe. Not always the case. Not always the case, of course. But if you have control over the means of communication, maybe you're the person who's able to oppress and unoppress. And maybe the person that you decide to oppress is the one being oppressed. I don't know, just, you know.
To foster some of the wildest shit you'll ever hear. Now, there's a website known as DanClancySucks.com,
Yeah.
where it goes through a treasure trove of some of the most popular streamers on the site. One of the most popular political streamer, Hassan Piker, and of course several of his, like, you know, people in his camp.
I definitely believe that Hassan is one of the worst people on Twitch. Not just because of what he thinks, but because of how big of an influence he has on people, right? He has absolute trash opinions. He's a terrorist sympathizer. No, I'm not going to argue this with anybody. Look up clips of it, right? He's had terrorists on stream. He's talked about how amazing terrorists are. He's sympathized with terrorists. He stated that he's in support of not Palestine, but Hamas itself. So the guy is absolutely a terrorist sympathizer. He should not be on Twitch. It's an absolute disgrace that he's even allowed to speak in public.
Like Frogan or really any of these other, like, political people, these political slop creators. And again, I highly do mention the word slop. I know that people would say that, Muda, you make slop.
No.
Pyrocynical makes slop. Charlie makes slop. Lots of people make slop. Now, I would say that in terms of political content creators,
there's a difference between fast food and slop. Slop is something that will it's just bad, right? It doesn't taste good. It's just slop. You eat it, it's bad for you, it tastes bad, but there's nothing else, right? or you're so convinced that you need to take that that's all you take. Fast food videos aren't that, right? Somebody who's just speaking their mind about a specific topic and like uploading 1 or 2 videos every day, and it's like either gameplay or react content. That's not slop, that's fast food videos.
Kind of stuff and clips that
They're not necessarily good for you, but they're also not bad for you, and it's just, you know, don't watch too many of them, obviously, but, you know, it's just for enjoyment, and you can have fun with it. It's not going to actively make you a worse person every time you watch another one of those videos, which Hassan's content will do.
Are some of the most inflammatory shit that I have seen, and it comes from people that really have
And by the way, he's not the only one, he's just the biggest one with the biggest circle.
no understanding about what they're talking about, but Twitch has allowed a platform where you can just say whatever you want to say with no actual repercussion, provided your politics are on their side. Similar to how Twitter or really any other form of social media kind of handles it. If you condemn Twitter for how they portray certain things on the internet or how, toxic their platform can get, you also have to actually condemn Twitch or really any platform for that matter. So, for instance,
oh my God,
according to
Frogan.
Twitch and their
he
community
didn't play it yet.
guidelines, if you go down to, actual civility and respect, hateful conduct, Twitch aims to be a place where everyone can come together and share community experiences. So what they say is Twitch does not permit behavior that is motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance.
I'm so happy that
Mutahar...
I'm so happy that Mutahar is going through all of these topics, because now I don't have to do it myself. I can just react to his video. See, that's why this is fast food, right? Like the work is done for me. I just need to bring up Mutahar's video and speak over his thing, Just massive props to Mutahar. That's why I like him.
Discrimination, denigration, harassment, or violence based on the following protected characteristics. So those characteristics are race, ethnicity, color, caste, national origins, immigration status, religion, sex, gender, gender identity, orientation, disability, serious medical condition, and veteran status. So, because Twitch said, we like to enforce our shit very equally,
please
listen
play the
to
clip.
what one of Twitch's political streamers
clip.
has to say. This is Frogan coming at you with the dumbest shit that I've heard in a while.
Not dumb. Not dumb. What she's saying isn't dumb. It's evil. And that's an important distinction to make. Because there is a difference between somebody who is incompetent and somebody who is malicious. Now, if somebody is incompetent enough, the results are interchangeable, right? In this case, she is being purely malicious. Everything she's saying is coming from a place, not of ignorance, but of pure, undiluted hatred.
I have no pity at all for any soldiers.
Why is she eating?
Distress, thank you so much.
Why is she always
eating? I
eating?
have any pity for any soldiers. The U.S. military? Who who? I hope you get PTSD. I do the ones the ones I'm like whatever about the U.S. soldiers are the ones that like acknowledge that like what they did was wrong. They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. Oh my God, Tom, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. So the U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like, imperialism. This. You don't deserve the PTSD.
What I think is funny though, she's saying, fuck imperialism, fuck this. She is the type of person to be okay with imperialism so long as it's not white people doing it. Because she and Hassan have shown support for Chinese imperialism recently, because Chinese military went after some fishermen of another country because they wanted that land. They wanted that they wanted that aquatic territory. But that's okay, and in fact they showed like active support for them. But fucking imperialism, though.
Like any other motherfucker, you're joining them. You're like, oh my God, I want my Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you. I hope you get PTSD.
Man, eat another
and I hope you
pancake.
get no health insurance when you get back in America.
Oh, how out of touch do you gotta be? How privileged do you gotta be to sit there on your ass in California and just badmouth the people that take a bullet for your freedoms every single day? The most outrageous shit you'll ever hear. Like, downright, just hateful rhetoric.
Yeah.
Now, obviously,
It's not even it's not even ignorance. It's not even ignorance. She's just evil. It's just evil.
The people who are in the military were like, whoa, we're getting that Camaro. I have never in a million years met somebody, and I've met plenty of friends, friends who are actually active military, people that are retired military at this point. They've done their careers. People that have played video games who've told me about their stories. Never once have I ever heard people jump into the army for that free, juicy Camaro. Ooh.
People will serve in times of peace, but those people never, for, the student loan thing and all that, those people rarely get deployed, though. Stuff is old-ish. It's old-ish, right?
Ooh. Maybe the student loans, and as somebody
Her opinions
that,
are old,
at the time,
but
financially speaking, I
don't think
needed
the
money
clip
for
is that
school.
old.
I probably would have joined the Canadian Air Force, out of
I don't watch
a
Frogan,
patriotic
though. I don't watch Frogan because I like streams where the person spends more than 5 minutes between each meal.
duty, but also because you sign a bond with them, you work in the military, you get your school paid for, good schooling, and that's kind of how things go. It's a deal you end up making. I think a lot of people that join the military who are these cogs in the machine that you'd be so willing to say, yeah, I hope you get PTSD if you're not, this reformed person that, has to bend the knee constantly because of your service to your country. Yeah, I think those people are usually in the military out of necessity, or, at some point they need a career, they need to join something, and the military is a great provider of it. The military also produces a lot of those same technologies used to stream your nonsense garbage on the internet. They do a lot more than just this imperialism that she, likes to throw around. There is very valid criticisms you can make of the US military, but I think going after the cogs in the machine, the people that are the grunts, the foot soldiers, is just insane. This kind of rhetoric doesn't really bring anyone together. If anything, all it does is just sow more.
Insane is when the thought process doesn't make logical sense. The thought process makes logical sense. It's just an evil thought process.
Discord and, so more issues amongst people who are already facing a lot of issues right now. People who are...
And by the way, the thought process makes logical sense because her thought process begins and ends with, I want America to fail. That's it. She just hates America. That's it. Did you see the video on Luther of Shadow? I have not yet. We'll have to watch it some other time, though. But yeah, that's the thing with Frogan. And with Hassan and their entire sofa. They live in America. They benefit off of all of the things that you get in America by being moderately wealthy, because they are. Like, most of them are moderately wealthy. In the case of Hassan, he's just a straight-up millionaire. They benefit from all these things, all the while talking shit about America. Like, America's a really nice place to be rich in. Watch you on Head, she's funny. Oh, I do watch you on Head.
This kind of rhetoric doesn't really, portray anything. She might think this is based, but at the end of the day, it's just literally cowardish behavior that, you're displaying from the internet. You're not...
It's safe edgy, right? Because you can say, fuck the military, and most people on the internet will go, woo, yay, woo! And everybody agrees with you on the internet, right? It's cowardly, as Mudahar said. Because you're not actually making a point. You're not taking a stand against anything. You're just kicking people who are already down. Especially in her case, she's kicking veterans with PTSD. She didn't just go after veterans. She didn't go after the veterans in Vietnam who had fun shooting at kids, right? That's not what she said. She didn't say that. She didn't talk about this hyper... this hyper-characterized version of an evil veteran who literally went to war because he was like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot civilians. No, that's not what she said. She said those veterans who went to war came back and now they have PTSD, they're homeless, they can't get a job, and they can't get any help. And she kicked those guys. What the fuck? Consider they protect her boy, broken more rules on Twitch than anyone. Hassan. Yeah, he's actually... The problem with Hassan is that he's actually really careful. He makes sure that he doesn't break the rules. He just brings in other people that break the rules outside of Twitch, but he himself doesn't break the rules. Hassan is very smart about that shit.
really actually providing any solution. You're just sitting over there wishing that people who literally fight for your freedoms every day would get probably the worst post-traumatic stress disorder or mental illnesses because of their service. I mean, honestly, if you were a serviceman and you heard this shit, I would actually understand if you probably regretted your service afterwards, or if you actually question your patriotism. If these are the actual, people that you're fighting for, the people that you're, hoping live their freedoms, right? In the manner that they have become so accustomed to and, have literally taken for granted. It's just hateful shit that
He's broken several of their rules on stream. One of the Twitch overlords love him. I do think he's the thing with Hasan is just he's a very influential person in the upper echelons of society because he is very well known by a lot of very rich people, and they like him a lot. They think he's charming because he's a handsome guy. He's tall. He's kind of muscular. They like him, right? And then he has these dog shit opinions that just show how hateful and small of a person he really is. It's pretty proven because there's a video of Dan, what's his face, talking about her son and then also sending a number in a video on his birthday, wishing him a happy birthday. Oh yeah, but Dan Clancy talks to a lot of the really big streamers. I wouldn't consider that favoritism for Hasan specifically. But yeah, Hasan is definitely one of those people that should not be on the platform.
Spouting, and realistically, it just comes from this very one-sided view of the army, or really your country.
And I say this because Dan Clancy has done more collabs with Asmongold than with Hasan. He's hung out with Asmongold and the OTK guys a lot more than he did with Hasan, and Asmongold still got a 2-week ban, right? Also photos of him with Hasan. Playing sports. Yeah, but Asmongold was also spent time with Dan, and they've gone out for dinner, and they've hung out, and they've talked to each other, and even done collabs. And Asmongold still got banned. Dan Clancy hangs out with streamers, a lot of streamers. So there's gonna be content online between him and Hasan. I don't think that's the big issue. I think Dan is a really good CEO of Twitch. I think he has his thumb on the pulse of Twitch.
It feels like a lot of the extreme leftists on the internet have literally just amounted to their policy being America bad, and realistically never really looking at any of these things from a nuanced perspective. On a side note, I also love how these people talk about getting universal healthcare for people, which is genuinely a cool thing to see people
Yes, but here's the thing. That's why I say that these people are the real fascists, because it's universal healthcare except for you. The law is for everybody, except for when we need to break it to hurt the people we want to hurt. Right? I also said one bad thing, but Hasan, or how you say, his name is said and done so many things that break Twitch rules. Yeah, but that's the thing. Asmongold has kind of said stuff that was also kind of on the edge a lot, and it's the same thing with Hasan. I don't think you can point to something that Hasan has said that is outright breaking Twitch rules that wasn't punished to some extent, right? When he said America deserved 9/11 all those years ago, he immediately took it back, right? He immediately said, okay, in Minecraft, I meant in Minecraft. I don't mean in real life. It's a shame that all those people died, He immediately walked it back, which, immediately is the thing that Twitch can go, yeah, but he walked it back, so we don't have to punish him. So, yeah. Understand why Asmongold is banned. Let's be honest, watched a lot of the clips. Hasan has said a lot of things that are way worse. Yes, he said things that are worse, but he said them in a way that isn't bannable. That's the thing, right?
Actually, live and not be in.
Also, Hasan has this massive circle of people and moderators who share his opinion, and not to mention Hasan. The main difference between Hasan and Asmongold is that Hasan has the opinions that are popular on the internet. The internet is a very left-wing place, right? Hasan has these left-wing opinions that a lot of the moderation staff on Twitch is going to agree with. And the left-wing opinion is Palestine good, Israel bad, right? If Asmongold has said the exact same thing he did, but about Israel, he wouldn't have been banned, right? So it really does come down to that. Considering they're against him, the left wing controls the government, the media, and all that stuff. Exactly, right? They're against imperialism when it's done by the people that they dislike. And in this case, these guys hate America and white people.
The medical industry of the United States because they happen to get sick or go through something serious. No, your medical rights are only really present as long as you share your political views with us. I mean, how fucking backwards, out of touch bullshit is this? When
It's fascistic. That's all it is, Mutahar. It's actually fascistic. It's fascistic. Like, there is no better word to describe it.
You gotta hear it, right? It's like,
it's the rule applies to everyone except the people that I don't like. It's not even except the people who have committed a crime. It's not people who have done something heinous, because a lot of states that aren't fascistic revoke the rights of criminals. Not all the rights, but some of the rights. For example, in the US, if you're a criminal, if you've committed a felony, you're not allowed to possess a firearm. That's a revocation of rights. These people don't even want to do that. They don't want to do that. They want to say free healthcare for everyone unless I don't like you. And that's why it's fascistic, right?
I hope you get PTSD, and I hope America doesn't pay for your medical stuff. I mean, they're military people. If you had any basic understanding, they probably have earned, their medical protections because of the service.
Depends on which state you're in as well. It all comes down to which state you are when it's America. Yes, that's because America is a conjunction of states, each state being pretty much its own country. And then the President of America is, the President of the United States of America is kind of the president of a union of states, each of which is its own country for all intents and purposes. Like, the United States of America is much closer to the UN than it is to its own actual country.
That they've offered. Just insane stuff to see.
Now, will Twitch ban this person for, their obvious, obvious hateful conduct on the site? Probably not. They're just walking around.
Yes, because it's that thing I said. It's not about anything else. It's about the fact that her opinions and the opinions of the moderation team are the same because she's very left-wing and she has very internet-esque opinions.
Completely free. It's insane.
If she said any of this stuff to somebody in real life, she'd be lucky not to get jumped.
Shit, it's a laissez-faire attitude. Now, obviously, after some...
The U.S. military conducts some of the most horrific crimes against humanity in the modern era in countries such as Iraq, or Iraq, however you want to pronounce it, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine. My anger is directed at individuals who are currently championing these war crimes as if they liberated my people. You live in America, you were most likely born in America. Actually, let's look this up. Rogan. Writing Iraq doesn't actually tell me how you pronounce it. Robuda Gilliman. Half Lebanese, half white. Father comes from a Muslim family. Okay, so here's the thing. Frogan is American. She was born in America. She was born in Dearborn, Michigan. Therefore, her people are Americans. She's not Iraqi. She's not Afghanistan. She's not an Afghani. She's not a Syrian. She's not Lebanese or Palestinian. She's American.
Backlash, this complete dipshit comes out and goes, I realize that wishing people harm isn't the best way to talk about these issues. Really?
Wait, did she not even, walk it back? I kind of expected her to. Beginning of it was worded poorly. I do apologize for that. So she doesn't disagree with it. She just says I worded it poorly. I go on to clarify in the clip that I do not mean all military. You're right. You only mean those with no remorse. What do you mean those with no remorse? Everybody has remorse for killing unless they're psychopaths, which are 1% of the population. So yeah, no, everybody has remorse. of killing, of being a soldier like it's a normal thing. It's why PTSD is so common. But you specifically actually said the people with PTSD. So those people always have remorse. You just said people with PTSD that aren't against imperialism. So she didn't say people with no remorse. She said people who don't agree with me politically. So she said that's what she said. So like this is a lie. She's just lying here. What I said was out of frustration as they are currently bombing my family in the name of liberation. No, they're not. I realized that wishing people harm isn't the best way to talk about these issues, and that I could have talked about these topics in a more sensitive way. Yeah, I don't believe Frogan has any family anywhere that's currently being quote-unquote bombed by the U.S. military. And by the way, if she is so against this, then she should be a Trump supporter, because wasn't Trump the one trying to pull out of those areas? Just saying.
I realize that wishing people harm isn't the best way to talk about these issues. Really? Really? Wow! And these people are supposed to be the fucking intellectual bastions on the internet. Really?
Yeah.
You think that being hateful isn't gonna attract people? Whoa, hold on a minute. You're telling me that it's easier to attract people with honey than vinegar? Say it ain't so, Chief. That's wild shit. Now, going down further into this specific cretin, one thing...
Oh my god, this fucking thing. I'm so glad she got banned over this.
That really came out wild
so
was this
glad she got banned over this.
TwitchCon-sponsored event. Now, this is 3 weeks ago, so this is very recent. Like, this is, again, very much in Twitch's sponsored event. Now, this is 3 weeks ago, so this is very recent. Like, this is...
Why did he just blink with his entire face? Like, look at him blink with his entire face.
Like, this is,
Anyway,
again, very much
she got
in
banned?
Twitch's
Yeah.
line. So she posts this like clip or video. It's like, how Arab are these Twitch streamers, right? So live at TwitchCon, and if you actually watch the content over here, you'll see that they're pretty much sponsored by Chevron, okay, Samsung, Capcom. They got some pretty big sponsors right over here, insane stuff. So if you look at the actual like tier list, you can see that Arab streamers S, Hassan Piker, funny, the Turkish guy is on the Arab.
Yeah, he's not even Arab.
List. All right. Then you've got like AB, the actual Arabs, and then of course on the F tier, this is where it gets interesting.
People. Yeah.
You've got Ethan Klein and Ben Shapipo.
I almost choked on my I almost choked on my water when he said Shapipo.
So at this point, we reached like, all right, S is good. S is good tier.
Yep.
A and B are not as good as S, but it's there. F tier, that tier just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
the
man.
Jews? Ooh, boy, oh boy.
More like J tier, am I right?
Watch the clip, and you look at this tier list that they're doing. It's insane because, like, at the top they've got the Arab.
XQC is Arab coded?
They've got Arab coded.
Is that
They've got
Mizkif?
Asperms.
They put Mizkif on thinks it's a slur.
Thinks it's a slur, and then the words love Sabra. Now Sabra apparently.
Wait! I need to see this. So that's Hassan is Arab. He's not even Arab. I don't know what this means. I don't know who this is. That looks like Ludwig, who is one of the whitest motherfuckers I've ever seen. I think... Oh man, who's that guy's name? What's his name? I'm trying to remember his name, but I can't think of his name right now, like, all of a sudden. What is that one's name? Scrolling through my follow list on Twitch, because I follow him, but I'm not remembering his name. It's not Sea Dog. It's not Connor. Where is it? Doug. Yeah, I think this is Doug. I don't recognize that. I think this is Mizkif. Because I think Mizkif might be Jewish, I don't know. And yeah, that's Ethan Klein.
And then the words love Sabra. Now, Sabra apparently, in their eyes, is like they're referring to like a brand of hummus that exists in Israel.
Yeah, it's also
that
a
is
fruit.
basically in part of a boycott. Now, Sabra also translates to Israeli Jew or Jew born in Israel.
Well, as a slur, yes.
So realistically, you know, if we're gonna use the terminology that these people politically like to use, this is what we consider a dog whistle. Okay.
Yeah, it's a no. It's actually a straight up a slur. If you use it to refer to people if you use a word based on somebody's ethnicity or identity in general, and you use it to refer to them in a demeaning term, it is a slur. Therefore, Sabra, in this context, is a slur, not a dog whistle. It's an outright slur. Get it right, Mutahar. For example, if I were to look at an Italian man and call him a pizza man, that's a slur. It's incorrect, because I am looking at him and I am going, hey, you, Mr. Italian man, pizzas are from Italy, therefore you are a pizza man. In the same way, they are looking at Jewish people, hey, Sabra is a fruit from Israel. And it's a company that makes hummus, and it's Israel-based, right? Therefore, I'm calling you a Sabra, because that's what you are. You are a Sabra person. That's a slur, okay? I wouldn't say that wouldn't be wrong, because a good majority of the time are usually pizza men. But you get what I mean.
Because in reality, this is what they're actually going for. I mean, the thumbnail that I showed you, and again, these are the same people that judged me based on the thumbnail that I used for, like, the Keffels video. So to give you a quick idea to understand, putting two Jews in the F tier kind of gives you an idea of, like, where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
Arab being at the top.
See, the actual dog whistle is this, right? This is the dog whistle. Putting an Arab at the top, and then putting the Jews at the bottom, and also using an edited photo of Ethan Klein to try and sully him. Not to mention, Ethan and Hassan were friends before the Israel thing. And they stopped being friends because Hassan refused to tell his audience, hey, chill the fuck out, Ethan's my friend. He refused to do that. And so now, because Ethan stopped being friends with Hassan because his audience kept harassing him, now Hassan's circle, Hassan himself hasn't done this because he's a fucking coward, but Hassan's circle now treats Ethan as fair game to, you know, sully and do all that stuff. Like how he first showed up on Destiny's channel. Yeah.
Jew being at the bottom, okay? See, I can look at this and immediately understand that this is most definitely designed to be hateful rhetoric, right?
They stopped being friends long before that, though. No. It was around that time because they even had a podcast together. They had a podcast together before the Israel thing. They had a podcast together, and then when the current conflict popped off, I think it was around November, because there was August 7, there was a few months of it, and then like people on the internet kind of started to get heated up about it, and they just started attacking anybody with any amount of Jewish or Israeli descent, and they found out that Gila was in the IDF, and so they just started harassing Ethan and Gila. And Ethan, you know, turned to his friend Hassan and said, hey, can you ask your audience not to be saying this stuff to me and my wife? And he said, hey, man, I don't control them. So, yeah.
Like, no matter how you want to cut and slice it, if I had done this, or anybody had done this, or people who are opposed politically to these people would do it, they would say that this is hateful conduct. This is literally hateful conduct occurring on the platform.
Yes.
Now, will
By every
Twitch
definition.
punish the accounts responsible for that kind of display of
They did.
idiocy on the platform? No.
They did.
You know, will Twitch do any? No.
They did. That's the thing, Mutahar. They did. They did punish them. By the time of this, when did this video drop? A day ago. I think 2 days ago is when they got banned. So this video is out of date, and I hope he corrects it later on in the video. There's still plenty of time. There's still 19 minutes in the video. But yes, they absolutely did punish them. They absolutely got banned for it. But I think that this has actually been going on for a while. There's the upper echelons of Twitch, and those people are very, very left wing. And when I say left wing, I mean American left wing. So this has nothing to do with politics. It's entirely about ideological possession. And their ideological possession comes down to hating the Western world. They don't hate Israel for anything that Israel has done, because they hated Israel long before this conflict started. And long before this conflict started, Israel had always been in a defensive war against Palestine. It had always been defensive. The Palestinian military would attack Israel, Israel would hit back, and then it goes back to being a Cold War. And these people have always been against Israel's very act of just existence. Like, the fact that these people will go around shouting, "From the river to the sea." Do you know what "from the river to the sea" means, guys? It means that every Israeli from the river to the sea should be dead. That's what that means. I'm gonna look up what the actual river is. The Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. I was forgetting the name of the river. But it's from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Every Israelite in that area should be dead so that Palestinians can take Israel for themselves. That's what "from the river to the sea" means. It's a call to genocide. Okay? So, all of these people, if you have banned Asmongold for saying this stuff, you should ban all of these other people, every single one of them. There is not a single one of them who has stated this with their chest out, proudly, and then proclaiming that they're the good guys. Not a single one of them deserves to have a platform, because they are hateful. They're using their platform to spread hate. It's not ignorance. They know what they're talking about, because they portray themselves as, "We're very informed. This is what we do. This is our livelihood. We do this for a living." Every single one of them banned them. If you're banning people for hateful conduct, these people should be banned. Okay? But Mudahar is actually, he still has 19 minutes of the video left. I don't actually want to keep watching the video though, so I'm actually going to link the video for anybody who wants to watch the video to check it out. So go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. But with that being said, that's all that I wanted to talk about on this topic. I'll see you guys again next time. Have a good one. Cheers.